Good evening. This is the meeting for the Groton Heights Property Sale Review Committee, special meeting for December 30th. I'd like to call the meeting over at 5:37 p.m. Next, I'm going to go to roll call. RTM representative Susan
Here.
David McBride, Councilor David McBride.
Here.
Here.
Yeah, Ritz.
Here.
Staff, Mr. John Burt, Mr. John Reiner.
Here.
And I'm going to announce as our ECRSC administrator. We're all present, so. Approval of minutes. Can I get a motion for the December 9, 2024 minutes?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Next, new business, and I'm going to do this one. Thank you so much.
Screen share. The green arrow. Yeah. Right there. No. To the left.
Thank you so much. This is a presentation, much like the one we did for the first meeting, but it's just a refresher as we haven't been together for a couple of weeks. And it's also for anyone from the public joining who may not have attended the first meeting. It's just about 6 slides. And overall, I'm Corinne Piazza, Economic and Community Development Manager, and I'll be helping administer the property review selection process. Next slide, please. So as we chatted last time, in July 2023, the Town Council adopted a new town-owned property reuse evaluation process. And then in September of 2024, the town released the Groton Heights property. And this will be the first property that's going through that new disposition process. So we helped prepare the administrative steps that would be necessary to put that in place, including the property sale review committee steps and helping the Town Council and review committee manage. You're familiar with this graphic by now. Essentially, this is a visual representation of the overall disposition process, including state requirements. And this graph is just broken down into phases. So that first one is property review in green. The next is identification of public benefits, where the council identifies what they'd like to see happen with the property. Then it moves into the orange one, which is project concept development and partner selection. And the final one, which is once developers selected, the legal agreements and project concept rules. So you can see that big yellow sticker just to keep everyone kind of on track overall. That is where we are tonight and what we're working on as the PSRC as we review the RFP proposals and get them narrowed down to a short list to then recommend to town. So zooming in on that phase that we're currently in, basically the PSRC process, receiving the RFPs, reviewing them, and getting to the shortlist recommendations to town council takes about 60 to 90 days. Then that shortlist that the PSRC comes up with will be reviewed by town council. That takes about 60 to 90 days for their review and selection of a final developer and concept. And then it moves into negotiations. The legal agreements, which is an additional 60 to 90 days. Last time we had this slide that outlines the 4 main steps that the PSRC will be taking. The first one we're done with, and the group just finished doing a preliminary scoring of the RFP responses. And just to note, those are not final scores. That's just an initial review to get the community comfortable with RFPs. Start discussion for this evening, which will be going over those preliminary scores, selecting a short list of interviews, and then also identifying any clarifying questions that the committee may have for the folks that are selected for the short list. After that, we'll have interviews with the shortlist respondents, and then the fourth step is discussion and selecting those finalists for this company. And we looked over this briefly last time as well, and that's essentially the scoring objectives RFP was drafted around. So the RFP and everything we've asked for respondents to provide aligns with the scoring criteria. And we're really looking at four main categories, which is project approach, qualifications and experience, project viability and timeliness, and benefit to the town, as was identified by the town council and our town council. And in particular, the town goals and preferred scope of development is what identifies the priorities that were laid out for the project, with feasibility and timeline, and also for any proposed incentives to understand the value that the town's getting and what it would take to make it. This is the last slide, and it's just a reminder of our next steps. So tonight is our PSRC meeting number 2. We'll review that preliminary scoring and select the short list for interviews. The next one we'll dive into interviews for those shortlist members, and then for the fourth meeting is just additional if it's needed. We may not need that time depending on how many respondents are chosen. Have it on there just in case. And that is essentially it for the presentation.
Thank you. Next, we'll go over the field of this. And this will be
motion for executive session. Motion. I move that members of the Groton Heights Property Sale Review Committee go into executive sessions pursuant to General Statute Section 1-206D for the discussion of the selection of the site or the lease, sale, or purchase of real estate by the state or a political subdivision of the state concerning potential purchase and development of the former Groton Heights Elementary.
We should probably amend it to include Corinne.
Yeah.
I motion to amend by adding Corinne Piazza to the list of those going into executive session. Aye.
Aye.
We are back from our executive session. 37. So can I get a motion to adjourn? All right, who's first?
Me.
We are adjourned at 6:57 p.m. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Take care, everybody. Happy New Year.
Yeah.